Hi. You talk to me, I listen, and you lead. Now, what on earth does that mean? Well, it means I've started a school where I'd love it if you would tell me, what are you interested in? What are you trying to do with the rest of your life? Let's say you're retired. You want to move to Portugal. Tell me, I'm retired, I want to move to Portugal, and I'd like you to save me as much time as possible on knowing everything I need to know about Portugal that I can't find anywhere online. Now, you're going to say to yourself, well, how's she going to do that? Well, I have a friend who lived in Portugal for about a year, and I'm going to interview her. You know, I know what to ask because almost 20 years now. Well, it's right at, May of 2006 was the first time I went to Mexico and stayed for some time. I moved there permanently, left there, and came here to Ecuador. I was back to the United States once because I published a paper. I have a PhD, and so I published a paper, and I went to a convention to present it. But other than that, I've lived overseas, and the whole point of living overseas is knowing what they're not telling you on those marketing videos. The marketing videos are about, hey, come and buy this piece of property. It only costs $2,010, and in the United States it costs $560,000, but here it's really cheap. They don't tell you things like what it's like to live somewhere else. I wouldn't live anywhere else now. No, I honestly mean that. But there's a big difference. And this is where I talk about you lead, I listen. If you were to ask me if you should move to Ecuador, because right now there's nothing on SKOOL, SKOOL, which is the group that I'm running, about Ecuador. And I would tell you the things that I know that make it heaven for me. But that doesn't mean it would be for you. And that's what I'm talking about. It's the things that, well, for one thing, a real estate agent isn't going to talk to you about it. For one thing, they may not know. I mean, honestly. But on the other hand, they're making a living, so it becomes extremely important to be able to promote the piece of property in the way that they care to, so that you would be interested in making a purchase. And that's not what I want. I want to make sure that you're not unhappy. If I invited you to come to Ecuador and you were unhappy, it probably means I wasn't thorough enough. For instance, most of the women, it's mostly women who leave here early. If they have a spouse or a partner, they convince that person to go with them. It's because of grandchildren. Well, my grandchildren are adults. I've got no reason to go back. I've got a friend down the road, just barely down the road, who is coming back this Thursday from being in the States because her daughter is pregnant, and she's anticipating having a child in October, and she's going to go back in October when the child is born. So that's a different kind of situation. What's so odd is that so many people come to Ecuador thinking, oh, I'm going to have this wonderful retirement, and then they don't think about all the things they're getting into. For instance, let's say you were asking me about Ecuador instead of Portugal, okay? First thing I would ask you is, how many places have you lived in your life? Well, I can't even tell you how many I've lived in, but maybe you could. And if you say, oh, well, I spent my childhood in Paducah, Kentucky. Oh, well, by the time I was 8 years old, I lived in 23 different states. I'd traveled from my birth state, New Mexico. By the time I was 3, I had traveled between the ages of 3 and 8 to 23 different states. I know that's crazy. It's crazy. Dad was military, and we were constantly moving under Curtis the homewrecker LeMay. The reason they called him the homewrecker is because he would move people. We actually moved 22 times in 22 months. I know that's insane, but we did. And that made it very difficult because, well, of course I had no siblings because my mother's second child died due to Rh negative factor. But I had no contact with cousins or aunts or uncles or grandparents, or I saw my grandparents twice. Until after my grandfather died, and then my grandmother came to visit. But I didn't have that. I didn't have long-term friendships. I didn't have long-term schools. One school I was in one day. One day. We moved there. I went to school the next day, and Dad got orders out that day, and we left that night. Yeah. So, and we lived on the side of the road in pop-up tents. So my concept of traveling was to live in a pop-up tent. It makes it pretty easy for me to find myself comfortable. I lived in an RV for 2 years. I've lived in just about anything you could imagine having to do with camping. I was born on a farm. I've always gone back to farms any chance I've gotten. I've lived in the back of a Bronco. I mean, you name it, I've done it. I've adapted to whatever I had to adapt to because I was raised alone. I was the only child. No other family, relatives, close friends, none of that. And military. So it's all different for me. And I've had a bazillion different jobs, really. I really have. So why I would like you to give me a lead, you lead on what you want to know about. And maybe what you want to know about is Paducah, Kentucky. Maybe what you want to know about is Washington, D.C. Whatever you want to know about, I will look for things that cannot be found through AI. And I will make sure that they're true. And I will make sure that they're personal. I will do everything in my power, and I will publish it on my Vibrant Second Spring SKOOL, SKOOL. And if you want to join it, it's free. If you want to have downloading and other meetings and things, it's not free. And if you want to have meetings with me one-on-one 4 times a month, that's not free either. So it's called a freemium. So it's free for the basic program, and then there's 2 other tiers. I need to pay rent. When I lose my husband, I won't have any survivor's benefits for 6 months. And I'm concerned about that. That's a big deal. So, whatever you'd like to talk to me about, send me information. You can email me. Or you can send me a WhatsApp or anything. Just, you don't have to be a member to do that. But I want information from people who are nonconformists in what they would like to do in later in life, past the age of 50, I would suspect, that I can write about. Okay? Thank you so much for being here. And please look for my information about SKOOL at the end of the video.